Hello, everyone, joining us live and rewatching our recording. Happy to have all you here today. We are going to present you a new release. Main parts would be tenant portal and advanced cost allocation. Just to share a bit more about the agenda, so we are focusing with this specific release towards cost allocations, improving existing functionality and changing it towards a better execution. So we will have allocation codes improvements, detailed cost entries, a separate table, separate cost and charge entries actions, blocking lease units from including in cost allocation actions. And also we will share a presentation of our tenant portal and what's coming next within the next release upcoming quarter. So with the tenant portal, we changed a platform and now it's more reliable, advanced, easier to integrate, flexible. You will have a separate admin role to be able to manage it and as well modify by yourselves. Expanded functionality, you will have work orders as well as messaging, full control directly from that role as mentioned before. So let's jump into demonstration. So what you see here, it's a homepage of it. You will see open work orders, unread messages, open contracts, and invoices. All the actions for creating work orders, logging turnover entries, and contacting support would be here as well. Quick lists to see what's over there with work orders, messages, invoices, and contracts. You can have frequently asked questions, and if necessary, we can add additional tiles, as for example, news sections and similar. Going into separate parts of the portal, first would be work orders, where we would see first the list of all those work orders. We will be able to filter them based on their statuses, dates, and as well create new ones from here too. Work order details are similar to what we had before. It just as mentioned that we have now a possibility to communicate between the technician manager and the tenant, and as well upload attachments, not only from Business Central side, but as well from the tenant perspective. As well, we have contracts, active ones with all the further details. And of course, services included with pricing and documents that if those would be shared on the contract level. What's improved, that the tenant would be also able to upload a document directly into the contract if necessary to share some specifics with the management. We have invoices as we had before. Now you are able to filter based on different dates, and not only invoices, but credit memos would be reflected as well. So of course, dates, document numbers, due dates, currencies, if there would be different ones, and of course, amounts and possibility to download. Customer details, of course, not all of it would be able to adjust, but some of it that's necessary and not that sensitive, clients would be able to adjust. Furthermore, they would be able to log turnover entries. Those would be coming directly into Business Central Turnover Journal. And so you can go further and create those amounts based on specific sales amounts, percentages, etc. So that would be about the tenant portal. And now we are jumping back to the presentation and we will cover the most important part of this release. So that would be improvement on cost allocation on those actuals that we are charging our tenants with.
So why new cost posting? So in general, every rental property has different type of costs. And today we focus as to the one that landlord should recover from the tenant, like cleaning, common area maintenance, annual insurances, bills, and property taxes that are not one-time charges, but should be distributed across the tenants month by month. And the problem is that statuses changes, areas are modified, and the purchase invoices arrives after the service period has already passed. So the new cost posting is built exactly for this and allows us to set up a location that reflects those monthly changes and allows us to distribute the right amount to the right tenants. And at first, I would like to highlight the one thing that when you will start using the new cost posting and you will enable it, it won't be any possibility to disable it. It is a one-way activation. So highly recommend to start gradually testing in sandbox environment, work through your business cases and customizations, and check if the functionality works as you expected. The next important information that from 1st of July this year, the all improvements will be done only for the new cost posting, and it doesn't mean that the old one doesn't work. It still remain and be usable, but all further enhancements are planned just for the new cost posting. As a quick overview, we have the different way how we can allocate cost in the Business Central when using purchase invoices. We can allocate directly to the specific lease unit. We can allocate based on the leasable or leased statuses of the properties, or we can use the custom cost allocation methods. But the most difference from the all functionality, then when we post the purchase invoices, no cost entries will be created immediately. The all information about the purchase invoices will be saved in the new detailed cost entries. And now when creating cost entries, they will be created only when the exact information about the month is known, about the lease unit areas and the statuses. So cost allocation methods is used for creating shares automatically or manually, and based on those shares, the cost allocations that will be done to the particular use lease units. So we created here the new field, the valid from, the date field, and if there are any changes during the month with the areas or statuses, you now can create the new code at the appropriate date, and when you create the cost entry, the system determines the code based on the period you will choose in the report. Important to remember that if there were no changes, it's not necessary to create the new code. The system will use the last valid allocation code. And whatever date you will type in the valid from field, the system always treats that is the first date of the month. So that means that the cost allocation changes will be effective only starting from the first date of the month. So let's jump into Business Central to see how it looks. So now I have opened the purchase invoice, the standard purchase invoice of Business Central. And here we have some fields dedicated especially for the SOFT4Spaces and property managers. So we can add here the margin amounts that will be included in the charges and in the billing process when we create the sales invoices. It's always mandatory to define the service code that we're providing for tenant, and we can have here the separate period, the separate period of the services. It could be the annual amount, few months, it could be just part of the month. If we want to allocate those expenses directly to the lease unit, we should define here the property code, the lease unit, and the lease unit cost checkbox will be enabled automatically. And when you post the purchase document, the direct cost will be visible in all related entries. If we want to allocate cost based on the property statuses, we should define the property code and choose the leasable or leased status. And if we want to use the custom allocation codes, you should define the property code and choose from the list the code that you created in the lease unit card. So where to find those allocation codes? You can find it in the lease unit list, or we can access directly from the purchase invoice. I will open now the lease unit card, the highest level of our building structure. And here we have the new section, active cost allocation methods. From this release, you are able here to see only the active one that is relevant to today. For example, it is a filter view. If you want to see all the history or create the new cost allocation method, click all property allocations. So here I see all the history, and if I need new one, I can choose the code. I can have as many code as I need and define the new date here. So I had this date.
As you see, the system will always tell you if there are any issues and if you entered something wrongly.
Yes. And now it's time when I can create shares. So I can create shares automatically. It will be calculated based on the area. But if for this month I would like to allocate cost just for a few of them, I can easily change those shares manually. So when we post the purchase invoice, the system will create the multiple lines. I will open in preview mode this document, and when you will use it too, you will notice the new line, detailed cost entries. So here is the place where all information will be saved, and this information will be used for the cost entries calculation in the next steps. So in detailed cost entries, we have many useful information about the document type, if it is invoice or credit memo, the direct cost, document numbers, service periods, properties, amounts without margin, the margin amounts, and amounts with margin, also the percentage and the averages that will be used in calculations of the cost entries. And it's a good practice after the month-end posting processes to review this table and to check if there are any open entries or the remaining amounts are left. It could be the cases when the tenant moves out that no cost entries are expected. So it's possible each entry to close manually. And when all those detailed entries are fully processed or closed manually, the month is considered as closed.
Agne, do I understand correctly that we can reach this table not only from the preview, but also from the role center through the search?
Yes, if you will bookmark this table in the Business Central, you will be able to access it in the role center. So when we post the purchase invoices, when we review or created the new cost allocation codes, the next step is in server journal is to create cost entries. It's also here are the new function, create cost lines. We made this function on purpose, this intermediate process, that it would be able to manage those costs on monthly basis. And the cost entries now will be created from the detailed line you saw in the previous slide. And here we have also the new fields created from detailed cost entry number. That indicates from which detailed entry the costs were created. And it's also important to remember that it's not possible to create multiple times from the same detailed cost entry number. Here we have some exception. Again, when the tenant is moving out, we need to create the partial cost entry. So we created a manual with some exceptions where you can review in our user guides how to use new cost posting. And when we post those cost entries, the next step is to create charge lines. So then the charge lines will be created not only from the contract details, but also from those cost entries you posted. And here we also have the new field, charge created from cost, that indicates that the source of the charge was cost entry. The next important improvement was done in lease unit blocking. So in lease unit card, so we renamed the blocking section to invoice blocking. That means that particular lease unit, for those particular lease unit, no charges and invoicing entries will be created. And also we have the separate cost blocking. That means that this lease unit will not be included in cost allocation methods and shares calculation, and no cost entries will be created for them. And before we open for question, let's quickly review what's coming next. So now we're working on the next phase of cost allocation improvements, the charge part. So charges creation from the cost entries, charge creation for part of a cost entry, and the remaining amount recalculations in service ledger entries. Also adding more validations and blocking to ensure system consistency. We'll be able to see the more detailed breakdown of what each charge consists of in detailed service ledger entries, and we'll be able to copy the lease contract. Also, we're changing Power BI design based on the Microsoft trends and preparing to introduce the new reports. So we still have some few minutes left in this meeting, and we're waiting for your questions.
I didn't see any questions coming up in the chat up until now. So if you have anything, please share with us, or keep in mind that our manuals, online manuals that you all can reach easily, are always up to date after the release is done. So whenever you visit, you will always find the most relevant information.